Day to celebrate an inauguration and a rededication to democracy in America. And let me show you some powerful images of this day. This is what President Barack Obama saw as he stepped out on that Capitol podium for the last time in his presidency. The president placing his hand on the Bible of Martin Luther King Jr. and another Bible, the one belonging to President Lincoln. And then later on, as the parade was about to begin, the first family, a modern scene here, Dad on his BlackBerry, the girls snapping pictures on their iPhones. All day long, ABC's David Muir has been following this. He was there at the Capitol watching History on Parade this morning. We'll begin with you, David.
Diane, good evening. You're right. We were just a few steps away from the president with his hand placed on those two Bibles. Authorities here in Washington were estimating 600 to 800,000 people would turn out on the National Mall to watch this swearing in. But tonight we've just learned from the inaugural committee that just like 4 years ago, that crowd might have surpassed 1 million. At the White House, a salute to the president, who was about to be sworn in before the nation. First, that 1.7-mile trip to the Capitol. Ahead of the president on the west front of the Capitol, a former president and a Secretary of State. Cheers on the National Mall for the Clintons, Mrs. Clinton looking better after that fall. And before their father arrived, the president's growing girls, Sasha and Malia, 11 and 14, wearing J. Crew and Kate Spade, and growing up before a nation. Then their mother, First Lady Michelle Obama.
Mrs. Michelle Obama.
To thunderous applause, ushering in a new term and those new bangs. The First Lady tweeting, "Blessed to be joining so many of my fellow Americans gathered to watch the inauguration." And then the president walking toward that archway, about to see the hundreds of thousands gathered on the National Mall.
The President of the United States, Barack H. Obama.
The president emerging, flashing his giant smile, but soon wiping away a tear during a stirring performance by the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. And then all eyes on the president and Chief Justice John Roberts, who flubbed his words 4 years ago, triggering a second swearing in. This time, the president's hand on two Bibles, President Lincoln's and Dr. Martin Luther King's. And this time, it was the president who seemed to swallow a word.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And then the president's address, just shy of 19 minutes, with a theme of moving forward together.
My fellow Americans, we are made for this moment, and we will seize it so long as we seize it together. Together, 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 together.
The first president ever to include gays in his inaugural while talking about the struggle for civil rights.
For if we are truly created equal, then surely the love we commit to one another must be equal as well.
The president insisting we address climate change, and on immigration, arguing we should welcome striving immigrants.
Until bright young students and engineers are enlisted in our workforce rather than expelled from our country.
There were powerful performances, Kelly Clarkson's stirring rendition of My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Great God,
Beyonce returning 4 years later, this time to sing the national anthem. And as the president made his exit up those steps, a pause, turning around to take in his final inaugural moment. One more time, a microphone picking up what he said. And as the first couple made their way back to the White House, they emerged from the motorcade just as they did 4 years ago. The crowds cheering their return home. Then the first family taking in a parade. The first couple with a kiss. The president moving to the drums. And the girls dancing too. Like so many families taking in a parade. And tonight we've learned that the family of the late Dr. Martin Luther King asked both the president and the Chief Justice to sign the King family Bible after the swearing in. Both did.